So I'm going to start this off with a mortgage joke of the day. Why was it hard to get a mortgage on the pyramids in Egypt? Because they were very close to denial.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, that's so bad. Come on, don't laugh too hard at me. All right, so you guys, I throw humor out here because it's a hard industry right now. I think humor is always therapeutic. So so follow me on my social media stuff. There's a lot of dorky stuff that I put on there. So, but a lot of good stuff too. I put a lot of tips. I have mortgage tips on there. So it really is a lot of fun. So first off, I'm going to start with mortgage rates. We all know the mortgage rates are going higher. I'm going to share my screen. My typical program that I utilize for showing mortgage-backed securities is actually the server is down. So I'm going to use an alternative for this morning. So bear with me one moment while I share this. All right, so which one am I sharing here? All right, Christy, can you give me a yes, thumbs up that you can see the mortgage rates right here? Okay, perfect. All right, so this is the average of mortgage rates right now. When I say average, these are what all of the lenders across the country are reporting. And this usually is a little under because there's a lot of points that are involved with some of the averages, but 5.64 is with 0.40 points. So to get a loan with no points, you're close to 5.875. If you have even the slightest adjustment for condo for a 710 credit score instead of 740, a really low loan amount, you're going to be in the sixes. So we're seeing rates in the sixes now. Expectations are everything. That's kind of what this meeting's all about today. So I want you guys to really understand what this does to payments. I have included in the chat, if you look at the chat at the very top, there is a link that you can click on, copy that link, put it in your browser, put it on your phone, email it to yourself. That is a link to an app. It's a mortgage app so that you can run calculations on payments. I think the biggest change in expectations is what it's costing to get a mortgage now compared to where it was a year ago. It is significantly different. However, if they didn't know what it was a year ago and they're looking at it, it's no big deal because their expectations are set on what's happening now. And I think that's what we really have to shift gears on is what are the expectations. And a lot of people think that the price of these homes is a lot higher than it should be. And we need to reshift their expectations there as well. One of the biggest ways of doing so is to show what the average rents are for the same homes that they're looking at so that they can understand that really it isn't that expensive after all, and what their alternatives are. We had some customers, a customer over the weekend that was going to end up paying close to $6,000 or more for rents on the home that they're currently in. And they were looking at homes and the mortgage on it with only 10% down on close to $1 million was $5,200. So they're still saving $800 there. It really shifted their mindset and their expectations on what they really could or couldn't do based on what rents are for the area. So high rents are really causing some turmoil out there and pushing people to purchase again, even though the rates on mortgages are higher. So as we see rates in the sixes, we really need to focus on the payment versus the alternatives, payment versus purchasing versus renting. It really is astounding how much rents have gone up. If you haven't been in that market, or if you're just focused on listings or selling or buyer side, have a look at the average rents in the area that you're listing homes in and compare and contrast that to what the mortgages are, even at the higher rates. It really is eye-opening. So rates, yes, in the 5s and 6s. Now, those of you that work with second home buyers and investors, it really is somewhat frustrating because rates are in the sixes with points. Since Fannie Mae made adjustments to the second home rates, anyone that was in the market for second homes, we really need to call them, kind of see where they are psychologically based on the current rates, because it does cost more. But we really need to look at what the cost of waiting would need to be and set and reset those expectations, right? So I can put together, if you have anyone that's an investor, or if you have anyone that's a second home buyer, you went from rates in the threes to now rates sixes with points. It really is heartbreaking. So we need to shift those expectations on what now reality is. Excuse me. For those of you that have allergies, you know what I'm feeling. But we really need to shift those expectations on what it looks like and what the alternatives are. When you go from a low interest rate environment to a higher interest rate environment, there's always some psychological damage there. So we really need to help fix that by showing now what the new reality is. And I'm going to show you a few slides of what I think the new reality is. So bear with me one moment.
Sean, there's
yes.
no link in the chat.
Oh, can you guys not? Is it? That's interesting. Here, let me stop share real fast and go to this chat. It should be the very top. I'll recopy that, put it in there. All right, I just put it in there.
Okay.
And then I'm going to share again. Again, setting expectations is sharing data as well. So let's have a look at, let's see what screen this is. Screen one, share. All right, this is the historical 30-year fixed mortgage. I did an average. If you were to eliminate this right here, which was a problem, it was a one-time occurrence with a lot of bad monetary policy. And if you eliminated this, we're in between 11.5 as a high and 2.5 as a low. We're right around the 6 to 7% range is what the average is. Well, guess what? We're right almost close to that. So if you look anytime before 2009, rates never went, or only a few times did they go below 6 in the history of life. So we're setting new expectations, yes, but we have to show people that it's not the end of the world, because we were here before. I mean, during the bubble, rates were close to 7%. And people were still buying homes in droves. There was 3.8 million homes listed during the bubble. I want to show you this. This was the bubble, 3.8 million homes listed during 2007. That's when you know that you've got a problem. When there's more homes listed than there is buyers, that's when we have people dropping their prices to sell. What we're going to see moving forward is prices coming down a little bit on listings, because they were maybe put on the market too high, expecting to get that frantic buyer to just make an obscene amount over asking just to get the property. We're going to see a little softening there, but the average rates, guys, are still low. So I want everyone to understand kind of what that looks like. So as we go into more details on setting expectations, I want to kind of go over kind of what's going to happen with inflation. People are going to see inflation come down this month. So when we look at the average inflation numbers, we're going to see the consumer price index coming out this month is going to be, I think, a little bit lower than what we had reported a year ago today, which is going to help with the average and bring inflation down a little bit. And people are going to think, great, the Fed raising the interest rates a little bit has helped. Well, over the summer months, we had very low inflation readings a year ago, and we're going to replace those with higher ones. So we're going to see another spike. The spike is going to be in about the October point. So if anyone thinks they're looking at inflation thinking that's where the worst is behind us, we're going to see that spike in October. And I think that's going to be the peak of the inflationary. And then we're going to see rates come down after that. So that's my hope and prayer as far as what to expect for rates in the future. But I know all of you, most of you are still grappling with people thinking that there is a housing bubble. We need to focus on inventory, demand, and population growth, because those three things can really debunk the fact that there is a bubble. And rent being as high as they are right now, it's still cheaper to purchase. So the buy versus rent calculator is going to really help set proper expectations as well, as far as what is a good deal and what's not. I have seen a few things out there, homes that are really ugly that people are throwing on the market and getting top dollar. Those are staying around. I know Vicky and I talked a little bit about that this weekend. I think she said there's no more dumping dumps. But it's true. It's true. So we're going to start seeing the uglier properties, or ones that need a little TLC, staying on the market a little bit longer. Don't forget about my seller buy downs. It's a great tool to get your buyers a lower rate. I ran some numbers. If the rate was at 5.75 on a normal day with 3 to 6%, you could get a rate from 4.5 to 4% by having the sellers buy down the rate for you, instead of going in for a lower purchase price. Go full asking price, ask the seller to buy down the rate, and you can get a rate close to 4. So it's a great way to get a lower rate right now if you have some rate sensitive buyers. So you can help set expectations on payments a little bit better on that as well. This week is going to be really interesting with inflation and with the bond auctions. So I don't know what's going to happen with rates. I mean, we're looking at the stock market's down another 600 points today. We're in a very volatile stage. This summer is going to be very volatile, but we need to focus on what is reality, and that's low inventory, really high demand. We still have the great migration happening. People are still coming here. We still have a lot of job growth. So those people that are afraid of the markets right now, I would love to have a conversation with them, send them my way. And I love having those conversations, because you can't hide from truth. You can't hide from the facts and what's happening in the market. But we really need to we can't just always say it's not a bubble. We need to be careful in that, because we need to always look at the facts. If we see inventory climbing dramatically and rates rising and days on market growing dramatically, then we have to really be careful and really rethink where we're at and see what kind of market we're going to be in. We've been in an environment that is so different and so extraordinary, I guess you can say, for so long, that we think this is the normal. But having a home on the market 30 to 60 days is what the normal used to be. So setting proper expectations with our buyers is going to be key. But rates in the 5s and 6s, I honestly believe they're going to get even higher. Here's why. June 1st is when they start selling mortgage-backed securities from the Fed level. So the Feds have been buying them for a long time. June 1st is going to be the first month where we show data once the Feds are selling those mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. We haven't seen them do this in a while, so we don't know what the impact will be once they do start actually selling these mortgage-backed securities. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a blip higher in rates, and then come October, we'll see rates trail back down again. So that push to get buyers off the fence is real, because rates will, I believe, continue to climb. We may see a little bit of head fakes, I call them, when they're going one way for a while, and there's one head fake back that gets better, and then the rest's down. Those head fakes do happen, but I think the trend is going to be higher until the peak of the inflation in October. So if you do have people that are looking, tell them to buy right now, don't wait. There's some really great reports I can run for you guys with the cost of waiting. They really do help. So did you guys see the link finally? Everyone see the link? I see a thumbs up there. Any questions with what you got? Any buyer questions? Any I guess hesitation with buyers out there? Anything you're hearing on why buyers are not wanting to pull the trigger? I think as we talk to buyers, we need to let them know that you really do need money to buy a home in this market. First-time home buyers, we can say, yes, there's a lot of programs out there to help, but in reality, very few of those offers are going through, because sellers still are going, we're still going over ask on a lot of those brand new listings, the ones that everyone likes. So setting proper expectations on what is needed. Yes, buyers do need money to buy a home. Isn't that amazing? You'd be surprised at how many people say, what do you mean I need money? This is ridiculous. How come I need more than $5,000 to buy a house? We hear it all the time. It's hard to reset those expectations when for the last 2 years, we've been hearing buy homes with no down with these down payment assistance programs and everything else. So it really is tough to set those expectations. But any questions out there? I know it's tough when I say rates are going to continue to go higher. It's kind of deflating, but we just need to be real with it and look at the facts. The cost of waiting is still better to buy now than wait. And there's some really good data I can show you on that. The rent versus buy, I had a conversation with somebody last night about it, and it makes no sense at all to rent and wait a year. It just doesn't make any sense because rents are so high, it's just completely throwing the money away. So inventory will rise. That's just part of the process. When rates get up this high, things will slow down and will come back to normal. But if it's a brand new property that's hot, there's still a lot of competition out there, guys. So I'll stay on the line for a little bit longer. We'll watch that inflation reading this week, see what that does to rates. But guys, anytime we have a contract in, we're locking right away. It's just still very volatile.
You know, Sean, it's even hard for buyers to buy a new build because they go in there and they have to bid high. And there are some lots. I mean, I had one person tell me this weekend that they made an offer on a lot that was 30, 40,000. They thought they were going to get it, and it went for 85,000. These people aren't even able to get a new build anymore without a lot down.
Yeah, I mean, it really is squeezing the first-time home buyers that don't have much money out of the market completely. That will shift. It has to. It's just the nature of the beast. But right now, it is tough. And one of the hardest things for new builds is, well, what does the future hold for rates? Like, I'm going in now, rates are at 5 3/4, let's just say, or almost 6. Where are they going to be once this house is closed? When the house is finished in a year from now? Because that's when they lock. They don't lock the rate in now. They wait. Now you can do an extended lock, but it costs points up front and the rate's worse than it is currently. So let's just say current rate is 5.75. You can lock a long-term lock. It's like 6 1/4 with points. So, and usually that's up to 120 days to 180 days. And people are hesitant to do that because they gamble on what it'll be in the future. So it is tough. It is tough, Frankie. And unfortunately, that's the market we're in now. It will shift, but that's where we're at right now. So if you have buyers, the truth will save you a lot of time, because if they don't have the money up front and they expect they're going to get the home that they make the first offer on, that's where buyers get mad. That's where buyers get frustrated. And no matter how much we beat this against the drum, a lot of buyers still think that they're going to get a deal and they're going to be able to win every offer that they put in, and sellers should work with them. And there's a lot of that out there still. So setting expectations is hard in an environment like this. Do you anticipate that at this time next year, interest rates will be higher than they are right now? There are just too many unknowns. There are a lot of unknowns. That's a good question. I think we will be in a recession within a year or two. I think all signs are pointing that we're close to a recession. When there is a recession, rates do come down. It really all depends on the Feds and what they do. If the Feds act too rashly with raising rates and they go and they hit the brakes too hard, they may step back in and say, oh, I'm so sorry, that was bad. Maybe I'll lower a little bit to get the engine going again. The Feds, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. But if they can do it well, and what they call landing softly is what they are, the term that they're using, then we're going to see rates come down by, I think, in about a year from now. So I'm telling people, try not to pay points right now if you can avoid it, because there will be opportunity in the future to refinance if the feds get it right. If the feds do it well and slow down the market, slow down inflation, but that's an if, and the feds haven't done it well so far, but I do expect about a year and a half from now, year to year and a half, rates should be better than they are right now. But I think they're going to get worse before they get better. All right. If there's no more questions, I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. So if you have any questions, if you want to raise your hand. If anyone ever asks you where they think the peak inflation is, you can tell them October will be the peak inflation month. And that's because October of 2021 was the highest inflation number, and we're going to replacing that with a lower number, and it should be lower moving forward. So keep your fingers crossed that that is correct, but it's going to be a little bit crazy summer. It's going to look like we've fixed inflation over the summer because I'm sorry, this next month, but it's going to get a little worse over the summer. So I know it's going to be volatile, but use the facts, use these reports that I can get for you for the cost of waiting, the rent versus buy, because they really do help paint a better picture for your buyers.
Hey, Sean, I have a question.
Sure.
What was my question? Sorry.
That's okay.
Question. I'm so sorry. Refis. So do you think after October of this year, refis will be back in business again?
I think it's going to take a little while. If somebody let's just say somebody closed a home at 6% and the rates dropped to 5.25, usually 3/4 in rate is a sufficient savings to actually make sense. So keep that in mind. About 3/4 in rate drop should initiate some sort of a refinance activity. But it's gonna be interesting to see, what it drops to and how quickly that happens. I think it'll be a slow, gradual slide down. It won't be abrupt, the rate drop. I think it's going to be a gradual. So we'll see. I hope there is opportunity for people to get lower rates in the near future, especially those who are buying new builds.
Right.
That's going to be very helpful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it. Keep your eye on my social media to keep positive and to have a little humor, but there are some really good tips I'm throwing in there as well. So if you're not on TikTok, it's a lot of fun. You have to, once you join, there's a lot of garbage you have to sift through before it learns what you like, and then it'll start sending you information that you actually enjoy. But at first you're like, what is all this garbage when you jump on it? But just like the stuff you like, and then it'll actually get to know you. The algorithm's pretty interesting. But you guys enjoy your week. Inflation numbers are going to be hitting this week. So are the auctions on bonds. So we'll see what the public's appetite is for the bond market this week. And hopefully it'll be good to stop the bleed. But you all have a wonderful, wonderful week, and stay positive, and let me know if there's anything I can do for you.